Waterless car wash. It seems ridiculous, but you may not always be able to do a traditional bucket water soap wash. And if you still need to clean your car, what do? Well, welcome to WhyBuy. And today we're going to be taking a look at this witchcraft known as waterless car wash. Thing is, would I use this on the whole car? Probably not. So how does a waterless car wash work? It's actually pretty straightforward. Give it a good shake. We'll take this area here. You spray it on the area you want to clean. Let it dwell for about 30 seconds. And then you take a clean microfiber towel and you just wipe it off. And that's pretty much it. It's not very complicated. So why do you need a product like this? Well, in some parts of the world, it's actually illegal, or you can get a fine for washing your car just because water's scarce and it's considered a waste of water. I can't imagine trying to keep my car clean and then getting a ticket for it. But that's one instance where this might be your only option. But also think about if you're living in an apartment and you don't have a driveway, garden hose, and you can't do a bucket wash. That might be something that is a good solution. Or in this instance, it's wintertime and you can't really pull out a garden hose, a bucket of water. It's in freezing temperatures. Good luck. Okay, so my first reaction when I heard that there was even such a thing as a waterless wash, the first question that came to my head was, is it going to scratch the paint? And I read all sorts of stuff on the internet about, oh, no, this is the best thing ever. It won't scratch anything. You can use it all over your car. And then I heard other people saying, like, never use this on your car. You don't want to cause the abrasion. It'll scratch the paint. And it didn't really leave me feeling very confident. It seems like opinions were all over the place. So what's the deal? The short answer is yes, this is going to cause scratches on your car. But same goes for a bucket wash with car shampoo, same goes for a touchless car wash, same goes for a wand wash. Anytime you cause abrasion to the surface of the paint, the clear coat is going to start to show those micro scratches and swirls building up over time. I think the real game or the test of car washing is what can you do to do as minimal damage as possible? What are you going to do to wash it so that you cause the least amount of abrasion but still get good results? I remember when someone first told me that no matter how you wash your car with what, you're gonna cause scratches, and I'm like, oh well, I'll just go to a touchless wash because nothing's touching the car. But even though nothing's touching your car with high pressure blasting at a car wash, it's still abrasion. You have to think of it as like liquid sandpaper. Those harsh chemicals being blasted at your clear coat, they're being pushed around and it's moving all those particles across your paint. So it doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna happen. So where does this waterless wash fit my lifestyle? It was actually going to car shows and car meets. I can't tell you how disappointing it is when you put in hours detailing a car, shining it up, getting it ready for the show, and then on the drive to the event, you get tons of bug guts and crap all over the front of the car. And it was just like, what do? You can take a dry rag and rub that stuff all around. I'm like, there's got to be a solution for this. And that's kind of where, I stumbled across waterless wash. What a good thing to keep in the trunk. Actually, I not only do I use it for that, but I started using it on road trips too. I love road trips. The feeling of freedom and just getting to enjoy the car, being out exploring, that's my ideal kind of holiday. And the only drawback really is that they sure do dirty up your car. And it's actually something now that I plan my trip where I have pit stops where I know there's a good wand wash so that I can stop and kind of get all the deposits off the car so that they don't keep building up. And in the winter especially, depending on the region or where you're at, they might use brine, they might use salt, all sorts of ice melts that not only are they corrosive and harmful for the paint, but they also are engineered to stick to everything. Even with water, it needs to stick to the road for safety, but it also loves sticking to your car. So I think if you're, doing long trips, like you're gonna expect to get your car dirty, and it's gonna happen no matter what. But I think if you can help prevent it from really bonding to the surface of the clear coat, it'll make all those washes easier and quicker. So here's the thing. Do I use the waterless wash on the entire car? No. And I don't recommend that you do either. What I suggest is that you kind of use it, just for certain areas. So at first I took the waterless wash with me for like quick touch-ups and stuff for a car show, but I'm like, you know what? You can use this stuff on glass. It would be a good thing to clean passenger windows and the windshield. And because I wasn't too keen on spraying it all over the car, because I was worried about micro scratches, I'm like, okay, well, what if I just use it on PPF or the 3M guard on the hood and on the mirror caps? Especially in the wintertime, it's more so for safety. I'll use it for the headlights and the tail lights so that, because they get gunked up really bad. And if there's no place to wash your car, like, what are you going to do? So I might catch some flack for this, but yeah, even though the waterless washes are, they claim to be safe to use on the entire car, maybe if there's light contamination on the vehicle, but man, especially in the wintertime, like I'm not overly excited about, essentially wiping the buildup, this gunk, this ugly, nasty, whatever it is that's built up on the car, and just kind of smearing it across the clear coat. Even though the waterless wash is designed for it, has lubrication, cleaning agents, all that stuff, I've kind of figured out a way to do it differently. So a little while back, I did a car wash series, and one of the episodes was talking about decontamination and adding paint protection. So the concept's simple. You use the right chemicals to basically clean the car surface off completely. And once it's bare, clean, you add a surface sealant or a protectant that'll last a long time. And I always do this in the spring so that I can have the car protected in the summer, and then again in the fall to protect it in the winter. Now, one of the best things about doing this is that although all this stuff that's slinging onto your car and caking up, especially in the winter, that nasty stuff, it may look like it's sticking to the car, but really it's sticking to that kind of shield, that layer that you put on that's, acting as a barrier between the clear coat and that crap. So if you did watch that car wash series, I'm about to sound like a hypocrite right now, because I do use touchless car washes and wand washes in the wintertime. And that's mostly because of the hot pressurized water. So despite my recommendations of always hand washing your car with the proper chemicals and pre-wash and so on, if it's wintertime and you can't run a hose in freezing temperatures, I go to the wand wash. And essentially it's just to be able to have hot pressurized water to blast off that kind of top layer. So this is how I use the waterless wash. So when you're looking for a good wand wash place, it's hard to tell by reviews if it's going to be decent or not, but I've kind of figured out where to go and where I like. And I always try and find places that have foam cannons because it's a good place to start. You basically, you completely cover the car in this foam, let it break down some of that surface layer. And because you already added that protection, that paint protection earlier in the season, when you take hot blasting water to spray all this off, it comes off pretty good. Like it just, you know, the car looks like it's clean and you really didn't do any hand abrasion, you know, trying to get that gunk off. So especially on road trips, I'll always keep this in the trunk of my car. And after doing a blast, you know, getting all that surface off, if I find there's still, you know, a lot of, you know, kind of that uneven, you can still kind of see the dirt in the car, I use some of the waterless wash on there because it does have really good cleaning agents mixed in, and there's lubrication as well. So it's a good way to kind of get a better clean. One thing I would never do is use those brushes that they always have that wand washes. Oh my God. I've seen people clean, you know, everything from their grills to the wheels to the underside of their cars. Oh, never put that on your car paint. Essentially, the waterless wash is still doing what it's intended to do. It's just doing it on a surface that isn't as built up with that, you know, really nasty winter grime that builds up on the surface. It's already, you know, been blasted off, and you're just kind of getting rid of the final residue. I find this is a better way to get a nicer clean on your car than using a brush or something and rubbing back and forth. It's kind of like the lesser of two evils. In a practical situation, you know, you have your car parked in your garage. It might be freezing outside and, you know, your garage is a little bit warmer. You can just use this to do some quick detailing on your car. And I've even tried using this waterless wash in like -15 degrees. And even though it freezes up pretty quick, it still does the job. It still works pretty good. I've done the headlights, the passenger windows, and, you know, again, this is not a solution to washing your car. At least in my eyes, it's a solution to helping your car stay clean in kind of unique circumstance. One of the surprising, I guess, silver lining benefits to using this waterless wash is the fact that it has a carnauba wax mixed into the fluid. So you have your cleaning agent, you have your lubrication, but you also have this carnauba wax, which gives it a nice warm glow, a shine after you apply it. I look at it as kind of like a really low form of protection, because carnauba waxes can stay on a surface, you know, for a couple of weeks. And if you're using this waterless wash, yeah, it's kind of like rebuilding that paint protection or that coating that you had on before. Especially if you have like a graphene coating or the paint sealant that I use, you're kind of helping to rebuild that layer. So it's an added benefit. If you daily drive your vehicle, especially like the winter months where there's snow and this stuff, like it's impossible to keep your car clean. My suggestion is, like, if you are going to the wand washes and using these harsh chemicals and high pressure, it's gonna eat through your paint protection faster. So a paint sealant might last 6 months at best. And if you use a lot of harsh chemicals and a lot of high pressure hot water, it's basically gonna wear that down prematurely. You might only get 2-3 months out of it. My recommendation is use a silica spray, which is basically, you know, a light silica that you spray on the car, rinse it off, and it'll help rebuild it. Now, I've heard of people completely ditching the traditional, you know, bucket wash with car shampoo and water and just using this waterless car wash. And I don't think I personally will ever get there. I guess, you know, it's a privilege that I don't have to worry about fines for washing my car with water. But I suppose, you know, like let's take classic cars, for example. If you have, you know, like an older pony or muscle car, you know, something that's older, maybe the seals aren't as good as they once were. They just don't do a good job of preventing water from getting into areas you don't want to. This could be a really good solution for that. I could see using this on, you know, cars that you don't want to just be soaking in water and you never take to a car wash. This would be a good way to clean them. And actually, you know, I've used this stuff on my engine bay. So let's demo the engine bay. I'll show you what I mean. Oh, she's still a little bit warm. So if you have an older engine or like an older car and all of the seals and wiring harnesses might be fragile to just spraying water in here, this could be a good solution to kind of touching up and cleaning your engine bay. So I just did the engine cover recently, and you can see like it looks perfectly clean, and I do it again right now, but the engine's still kind of hot. But the nice thing is that I can demo is that it works on plastic. I cleaned this recently, so it's actually pretty clean right now, but I'll show you how this works. So first, shake this up really good. So I'm just gonna spray this stuff on the headlamp, and it's going all over the place. You can kind of see the previous time I did this, Jesus, the wax is still there, so it's like it's super slick. Again, 30 seconds, and then just kind of a gentle wipe and lift motion. And then with my other clean rag, gentle wipe and lift. Slippery too. Perfect. After using this stuff for about a year, like it's super easy and it's not rocket science. You spray it on to the area you want to clean, let it dwell for about 30 seconds. And again, I can't stress enough, let it dwell, because it needs to break down you know, all that dirt and surface deposits. And then with a clean microfiber towel, probably one you're going to throw away, you're not rubbing, you're not scrubbing, you're just gently lifting it off the surface of the paint. And after that, with another clean microfiber, you just wipe away any residue, and you know, the finished results are really good. One of the things that I'd probably recommend if you're using this, don't get carried away. You know, if you're cleaning the whole car, you know, don't do like one side at a time. Try and just do panels, you know, smaller sections, because the last thing you want is for this stuff to dry, or you get tired and you start missing spots, and this, when it dries on, can be really hard to get off. So just make sure that, you know, you take your time, you be patient with it, and yeah, just it's not about rushing through it, because you won't get a good job. Just take your time with it, and I don't know, try to enjoy it. It's probably one of the things that this has put me in the habit of, is keeping a whole bunch of clean microfibers in my car, because you know, you don't want to be in a situation where you're using a dirty microfiber rag or towel over again. It's going to cause more headaches than it's worth. You're essentially just rubbing those rocks and deposits back into the clear coat, and yeah, that's the last thing you want. So what do micro scratches look like? I've mentioned it a few times, but if you've ever noticed on the surface of a car when the light hits it just right, you almost see this like spider web effect where it just looks like tons of these lines that are all over the place. And some people call them love marks, you know, from washing too much. And I know on my RS5, I'm gonna have to do something about that eventually, and that's typically where you do a polish and paint correction. So I know it will come up, but the thing is, I try and space out the intervals for when I do that as long as possible, because really in the lifetime of a car, you don't want to be doing a polish more than 3 or 5 times for the life of the car. Like, there's only so much clear coat that you can polish. You have to think about it as a layer. Every time you polish, it's getting lower and lower, and you have to be careful and sort of frugal with how often you polish your car. One of the areas that's handy to use this for is the wheels. I can't tell you how many times I've washed my car and I've done the best job as I could to dry it, but the wheels always get water deposits and they leak out or whatever. This can be a nice touch-up to do afterwards. So yeah, let's demo that. Okay, so let's spray it on here. This stuff has a nice smell to it too. It's like, I want to say it almost smells like coconut. And the cool thing is, you can actually use this on the tire too. So why not the tire too? There we go. Good amount there. The wheels are going to look funny with only this part done, but 30 seconds. Nice wiping motion. And this stuff on the wheel is really nasty. By the way, doing this in direct sunlight, I don't recommend, but it was a nice day and I wanted to film outside. Let's have a look. So bottom line, what's the drawback of using waterless wash? Well, if you're doing the entire car, the price is gonna take some getting used to. You know, I get it if you are in a situation where a bucket with water and soap diluted, if that's not an option for you, then this is a good solution for that despite the cost. But, you know, if you're thinking of, oh, well, I'll stop using that method and just going to this method now, it's gonna be a lot more expensive. Personally, I like it a lot, you know, just to have on hand for those, you know, unique instances where I'm going to use it, whether it's at a car show or whether it's at, you know, on a road trip. I think it's a good thing to have in the trunk of your car, especially considering, you know, just the odd things that can happen when you're on the road. Bird crap being probably one of the most frequent, where it's like, you know, leaving that acidic, nasty stuff on your car baking in the sun, you don't want that. So this is a good thing to have on hand, because you know, water and a McDonald's napkin doesn't always cut it. In all seriousness though, this is a really good product. I think that it might be a little bit overstating that you can, you know, replace washing your car the traditional way with this. I found kind of a different way to use it, and you know, I take it with me everywhere essentially, and yeah, it's great to use in a pinch, and I definitely think you should have it. So if you thought this video was helpful, please like and subscribe, show your support, and thanks for watching. I use it sparingly, and especially in the winter time, I use it on the headlamps, calls it headlamps. 3M guard on the hood and on the wings, and use it on the mirror caps. 30 seconds. There's a nice nice spot for Audi watches. Make sure you have a good timer. Brought to you by Audi. I wish. Dirty, clean. Wow. You know, some people they don't really care much about washing your car, but it's nice, you know. This is kind of, I consider it sort of a treat where I don't have to like manually wash my car. And with all the lights and stuff, I feel like I'm at a car wash nightclub. Oh yeah, I went for the luxury wash. Yeah, I think I like bought the minimum amount of fuel to get the discount, because if you buy gas, you get a discount on a car wash. $11 worth of fuel. Playing the game. Focus, but you can still get what's called a bokeh effect, where the background's blurry but the subject is in focus. The guy next to me thought I was waving at him. He just looked at me like, what the fuck?